Hello. So I got these new paints and I just kind of wanted to share them. This isn't really an unboxing. I guess maybe it is, although I've already taken them out of the box. I haven't used them yet, so I'll be using them for the first time. Not really on a full project, but just playing around with them very quickly to show you what they do. Because I think I know what they do, but I'm not really sure. So we're going to try. This is Jane Davenport layer cake paint, which is supposed to be similar to a gouache, which is similar to watercolor, but it's made to be more opaque, so it'll sit on top of other layers and won't be as translucent as watercolor. As an example, in my journal I have watercolor pieces, and for instance this is a watercolor and this is all gouache. Gouache tends to dry fast, and so it gives you this nice kind of dry brush effect, which lends to the painterly quality, sort of impressionistic style, I guess. This is a watercolor. This is gouache over here on top of a black gesso. So see, it goes on top of dark colors very, very well, which is what I love. This is a watercolor and gouache. So I used watercolor for most of it, and then for the rocks and grass I used the gouache, and you can tell it gave a really cool rocky, mossy texture. This is sort of a combination, watercolor and gouache for the trees. Here I did just a little bit of highlight with gouache, but mostly this is watercolor and ink. Same over here, watercolor and a little bit of gouache, and this is all gouache on top of black gesso. So again, it holds up very well on top of dark. This is just regular gouache. This is a Arteza brand. So I'm going to kind of compare that to the Arteza. I have a sheet ready to go. These paints have a very interesting palette. There's some in here that have triple colors. So let's see what that looks like. This one's called Ice Cream Slice, is the color set. Now what's weird is it was not listed on the label anywhere what the name was. So I just wrote it on there with a Sharpie. And this one's called Rainbow Cake. They each come with a brush. This one has a nice flat brush. And the other one has actually two brushes in it. These are, so I'm going to pull them out. Looks like maybe a bright or flat. And then this looks like a little detail brush. Nice, and the little cap came off, but I can put it back on to keep its shape. Whoops. Alright, so kind of use these brushes. I'm going to put them off to the side. Alright. And these are also removable. They have lids on them. Let's see if I can get this. These little pans are removable. I can pop it out of here, so you can probably buy replacements as needed and put them back in there, pop them in there. So that's kind of cool. And it looks like there's quite a bit of pigment in there. And when I touch it, it's kind of moist. I mean, you can see this. It's crumbling. It's not dry like a powder, but it kind of sticks. It's kind of greasy almost. It's sticking to my finger, kind of like an oil pastel. So that'll be interesting. I can already tell that it's very highly pigmented. And it's probably going to be smoothie-like, cream, buttery consistency. So, let me get my little sample card. I also have this old gouache tin that was my mom's. I'm from the U.S. and Texas, so I've heard this said Karen Dash, so I don't know if you're supposed to say it that way or if you're supposed to say Karan Dash. I don't know, but this is the brand. these are gouache paints. Now these are dry. They're not coming off like a oil pastel. They're easily reactivated with water. The set is very old. I don't know what the year is on it, but it'll still work. I'm going to kind of test these. These are supposed to be opaque as well. It comes with a tube of white. And the Arteza gouaches I have are actually like a paint consistency. Now these will dry very quickly. I put them out on a palette, and you can let them dry and reactivate them with water. They're just in a different format. Obviously they're in a tube instead of in a dry pan. Now when these dry, they get very crumbly, which is kind of annoying. So I only try to squeeze out as much as I need and no more. Now I'm going to get some water. I'm just going to spray a little bit of water. And use one of these brushes that I got. Now first with the Arteza, I'm going to put a little bit. Now they're already kind of liquidy, so I don't have to add too much water. You can see it is covering the paper pretty well right off the bat. It's not going to take several coats or anything. I love that about these. Again, you can see it's covering it very well. Now, I'm going to get a pen. I'm just going to write on here. This is my Uniball white. I love this for writing on white. I also have a Posca pen, but I can't find it at the moment, so now this looks like a yellow ochre. I don't really have that color in this pan, but we'll get something similar. I'm going to we'll use this orange. I'm going to get that while it's getting wet. I will use, I'm going to put some watercolor on here so you can see the translucency difference. Okay, it's very watery. Okay, so this is the watercolor. You can tell that it is showing the black paper underneath. It is not, it doesn't have enough pigment in it to cover up, and it's kind of soaking into the paper. Okay, so that's the watercolor, to give you an idea. And no, this isn't the same. I wonder, I'll mix a little bit of this real quick and see if we can get a similar. Maybe more yellow-orange. Okay, so this is more opaque than the watercolor. But not quite as much as the Arteza gouache. And this is just an old pan gouache set. So you can kind of see that. I'm going to put pan. Okay. So, I just wanted to lay down those few so you could see the difference real quick. Now for the fun part. Let's take this first one. Actually, this one has a similar color in it. So I'm going to spritz a little water on here. Get it activated. Get my brush back. Okay. Ooh. You can see how nice and creamy it is. I'm going to put a little more water on it. Oh yeah, nice and creamy. I can feel it. Okay. Now it's nice and loaded. It's a similar color. Not exact. So it's pretty opaque. Yep. It is pretty opaque. Now, one of the differences I can tell right away is that it is creamier. I figured it would be creamier than my Arteza gouache. And like I said, this, even when I water it down, it dries fairly quickly, the Arteza gouache. This, since it's already dry and you control the water, I guess you can wet it as much as needed. I can tell that it's staying kind of wet. So it'll be workable for longer, I believe, than the Arteza. So this is going to be really fun to work with. Now, Jane Davenport is an artist out of Australia. She's known for her art journals lately and mixed media pieces. I think she's done a lot of different things, like fashion illustration and like photography, maybe fashion photography. She was into flowers. You should go look her up. She has really cool stuff, and she's got books. Her products are sold in like Michael's. You can probably find them at other craft stores. You just go look it up. Now these I bought directly from her site. It's a new product, and so I couldn't resist. It was a set. They were kind of pricey. They were about $40 a set, but it's a pretty large set, and I can tell that there's a lot of paint in here that's going to last me a good long while. So I'm pretty happy with these, and I can't wait to make something with them since they're so colorful and so pigmented. So I will figure out a journal page, something to do with these, and I will be back with a part 2. This is my quick little intro on kind of the consistency, how these are going to behave. So I will see you next time.